important benchmarks for law departments. This is Reese Morrison, who runs the General Counsel Metrics Global Benchmark Survey. What you're seeing is the cover of the most recent release, 4.0, in December 2012. It went out to 970 law departments. What we're going to talk about today is total legal spending as a percentage of revenue. First, I'm going to define total legal spending. It has three parts. The internal budget of the law department during a particular fiscal year is mostly compensation spending. Perhaps 75% is compensation spending. The rest of it consists of things like a facilities charge, which is the equivalent of rental, and some other things like travel, CLE, and expensive consultants. On the external spending side, it's mostly law firms, perhaps 80%, but there would also be some vendors such as litigation support vendors and others. What total legal spending does not include are settlements, judgments, awards, and similar amounts, because those pieces of data are very difficult to get, and not all of them are reduced to dollars, in fact. So this is the total legal spending during a fiscal year of a law department. Every general counsel knows this number. It is often much contested. What are we going to do with that number? We are going to normalize it. Now, what you do to normalize a number is simply you divide it by some other number. Here, we divide each department's total legal spending by the corporate revenue of the company. So you might have $10 million of internal spending and you divide it by $1 billion of corporate revenue. That will normalize the number. It will create a ratio. Why do we do that? A major reason is it makes all companies look alike. The large company with large internal spending, when you normalize it, looks just the same as the small company with small revenue once you divide by its revenue. So they look apples to apples. Another reason to do it is that normalizing protects the confidentiality of everybody's data, because you'd have to know both ends of it to try to figure anybody out. And we're very concerned about confidentiality. So, what do some of these metrics look like? Well, from the General Counsel Metrics fourth release, which was covering fiscal year 2011 for the companies, here are some of the metrics. For instance, the median one, the green bar, is about 0.3% of revenue. The reason the average, or mean, in yellow is high is that a few companies are extreme and they drive the average up. But you can also see the first quartile number here on the left and the fourth quartile number and something called the trimmed mean, which I won't go into. So this is one of the most important benchmark metrics that you can have. And if you'd like to get yours and many more, 25 more benchmark metrics and a lot more data, you can take this confidential survey. I'll point out that this link will also be in the description of this tutorial. Thank you very much for taking part. Goodbye.